Hi, Pink Girly here. I thought perhaps I would follow up with my little video here of putting a few tags together using my paper boiled paper. And so this is what I have here. I'll just show you real quick. Got a bunch of other little doodads sitting around to help me build my tags. So my desk is a mess, but this is generally how it looks anyway. So these are the pieces of book paper that I boiled, and I'm thrilled with the way that they turned out. Now, as I said in that previous video, I just tore pieces of the book pages because I didn't want to put any inked printed on pages in the water because I wasn't sure if that ink would come off and muddy my water. I still didn't grab those other boils that I did where my paper turned out real black. I don't know if they're right. I don't see them. I really should have done that, but it didn't occur to me. And then when I sprinkled the petals around, some of them I picked off, but I was digging up the paper, so some of them I just kind of left. And they're coming up a little bit, but some of them, well, let me show you this. I don't know if you can see this, but I did get a really cool imprint there. And the colors are really nice in person. They're like a blue-green, pink with a little bit of yellow. So I really am pleased with these. Of course, I can't really use this in a journal because it's, well, maybe I could fold it and use it as a little pocket. That's an idea. Maybe stitch it. But I really like the way they turned out. So I'm going to do more with book pages for sure. But I'm going to need to test the ink, I guess. And I'm not going to show you all these papers because I want this video just to be a little short, hopefully a little short video. But I did get some imprinting. And perhaps if I'd left them sit maybe overnight, I would have gotten more of an imprint. But I just am not that kind of person. I mean, I was just too anxious to pull it apart. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Oh, maybe right there. Oh, it's not really focusing for you. But this one is really cool. So I'm really mostly pleased. But like this one here, see, I can't, I mean, I guess if I really tried to get a loose edge, but those petals look kind of cool on there. So I figured if I use this piece of paper in something, I'll just either gesso or put golden matte medium over top, and that will secure them down because I think they kind of look neat there. Here's some yellow petals and some of the pink in the yellow. So we'll see. But some of this paper I'm going to use today to dress up some tags, make some cards or whatever for some future project. So let me just look through here. I'm mostly working with pinks. And I'm looking for, I don't want to use ones that I think I might, now see this is a big hole in it, so let's pull that one out. This one's really chewed up too. But this one's really cool because it almost looks like, I don't know, like Spumoni or something with a pink, blue, and yellow. And this one's pretty rough. These little doodads that were from the center of the flower, kind of picking off a little bit. That baby's pretty rough. Okay. That is more than enough for what I have put aside to work on. So I have my little box of goodies with some Tim Holtz type of little ephemera things that I have. I've got some material. I have some little tags on pins that sometimes I like to use. A little bit of lace and pearls. A little piece of lace. Some other stuff. My papers. some washi tape. I pulled out some buttons. And I've got some flowers. It never fails. My phone rings as soon as I start recording. So I've got my glue. I've got my heat gun, I hope, plugged in. Yes, in case I need that. So I had some tags that I had stamped on that really weren't very popular in the co-op, where I have some of my finished products. And they've been there for a long time. What I should have done was painted on the part that was stamped that I was going to try to cover up. But I didn't think about that until after I had put my tissue paper and napkin on the front side. But I think really you'd have to really look to see any imprinting underneath, because I'm going to cover up most of that. So these are very small little tags. And let's see, they're 1 3/4 wide by 3 1/4 long. So I've got a few of those. And then I had some gigantic playing cards that I picked up. I thought would be fun to decorate. And these are quite large. I covered up the samples I had. So that's quite large. So I have 2 of those I thought I would work on, and that measures 3 1/2 by, I'll say 4 7/8. I'm getting a lot better at measuring and reading a ruler. That has always been a struggle for me, and reading a regular clock. Digital was a whole game changer for me. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's just the truth. Okay, so I don't need that. And I've got a couple other little doodads. Okay, so the playing card, I did take a piece of the boiled dyed paper and put on the top of this greeting card. And then I put some playing card on the back and made a little pocket on this one and punched a hole. This one, I had a beautiful little piece of Stampera paper, which they have beautiful scrapbooking paper, that I glued onto the front of this. And you can see I'm missing a corner, but I'm going to cover that up with my boiled paper. And I haven't done anything else to this one except just cover up the back, design of the greeting card. Now this is quite large, but I think I might be able to use those somewhere along the line. I have ribbon available to me. Now, I thought I'd like to put a reinforcement tag on these as well. And these I want to put some, I think it'll take it. Maybe it won't. We'll see. I want to put some, oh heavens, what is it called? You know what I'm talking about. Ink. From my ink pad. And this is the Tim Holtz Vintage Photo, which is my favorite. I think maybe my husband's home. And you know what? I got these at an estate sale, and that's very waxy and glassy looking, and it doesn't have much stick left to it. So I'm going to grab one of my other, so I don't want to have to fuss with that. So here's just a regular sheet of reinforcements that you can get at your Walmart. And I'm just going to ink those a little bit, grunge them up. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to put them around. I think they're too large for my little ones. So I'm just going to put that around my bigger cards. And I want to ink my edges as well. Now this one I think I'm going to ink in pink. And I'm pretty sure these, yeah, I think that just looks too big there. So this one with the Stampera paper that I used, I'm going to ink that edge. And then I'm going to find a piece of my boiled paper. Now this has pinks and greens and yellows in this paper. So let's see what I have here. And I'm just going to tear this. This has all those colors. I don't know if I'm going to like that. I think I might want to use a piece of my book paper. It kind of matches the coloring of the tag better, I think. So I want it about here. And I want it kind of down to a wedge, kind of to mimic what I'm missing. Of course, this is a great deal wider. I think I want it narrower. So I'm just going to tear it, and I wanted it a lot narrower at the top. Now I'm going to ink that edge. Now, in most cases, you might work on a project and do one card at a time. I generally do a few at a time. And I've got to remember that the way I have my camera, I have it set up a little further. I need to lean forward and make sure I'm in frame. And I will trim off that back piece if I need to. Only a little bit. Hey, that's cool. Right, so that's that one. Now I've got the Tim Holtz Distress Ink Victorian Velvet, and that's what I'm going to use on this other large card. Get out my little round blending tool. And somewhere I have gummed labels that are, oh, I know where they are. I see them. I think I can pull that out without causing a craft-a-lanch, hopefully. So I'm just going to come around my edge here. With this Victorian, what did I say it was? Victorian Velvet. It's kind of what I would call a mauve, old-timey color. And somewhere I have some music paper. I forgot to grab that. So that's good for that. And I think these little guys have already had some inking. And I don't know that they're going to need a whole lot of inking. Maybe just a little bit here and there. And of course, if you're doing a project like this, you ink according to your taste. Some people may not like inking. I think it really puts an edge on your piece, of course, which then causes your eye to pull to the center And so, well, that looks funny, doesn't it? This is the tail end of a butterfly. So that's a little funny. I should have positioned that one maybe. I did it backwards. I put the sheet of paper down and then put the tags on upside down. So I didn't really pay that close attention to placement. It's just a little tag. We shall cover it. Got a little lift up there. I can always glue that back down. I don't know if you can see my original stamping through here. You can see it a little bit. So I want to make sure I cover that up. Now somewhere I had a piece of, several pieces actually, of music paper. I think I moved them. I'm always moving stuff. I'm trying to clean my room because I have a larger project sitting and waiting to be finished. And oh, guess what I found? Look at this. This is my original boil. Can you see how dark it is? Like I got some really great veining, and you can really see the plant. Really great imprinting. But the pages are so dark. Look at it compared to what I did the other day. Like, what kind of a book would you put this, blackish paper in? So that's why I said I think it had to do, a lot of it had to do with my pot. If you watched my other video when I was doing that, I mean, I've got a whole big bag of that. All right, I've got some book paper there, some words. Cool. A little bit of music. All right, so on this larger tag here, I believe I want to put this angel. And maybe we'll put a little bit of music underneath her. What I like to do is just lay things out. I like to lay things over top of other things and lay them out and try to get an idea of how I want it to look. And I always forget to recap my glue. I run into trouble. Oh, we got trouble. All right, let's see. Make sure you can see both of those. Being this one is totally covered with my foiled paper. Maybe I'll put a piece of that down. Birds might look cute on this one. Now this I'd gotten from a package that had a bunch of different tags and stickers in it. And this was the packaging. But it's real thick and it's that shiny paper, which I'm not crazy about. And I even do this with my scrapbook paper. If I don't want that real thick layer, I peel it in half. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I just have a thin sheet of paper. Now sometimes you might want a little raised elevation, and that works. But a lot of times I just like it to be not real big and bulky. And I'm just trying to tear off as little bit of that as I can. And I might end up not using these guys because they're really kind of a weird color. Oh, I just ripped that boy's head off. Well, sorry about that, dude. And I like to ink each thing as we move along in the process. And I want to try to get a piece of washi tape on here, perhaps. Now, I've got lots of different washi tape. I didn't pull out everything. But I did pull out this. I think this is another Tim Holtz. I love Tim Holtz things. I'm going to put this over here. Well, that looks like it's, the writing goes that way. Normally I would add some glue underneath of there, but I'm going to be gluing on top and layering. So I'm not too concerned about that. And I'm going to put this other little piece right across the bottom of that butterfly tail and wrap it around to the back. So that'll work. And then I want to get another little piece of, oh, let's see how this looks. If I put that flower, I think perhaps this is too large. And I have this striped material, which I really like. And I like to have the edges frayed. And I think I might wrap this around the back, but I don't want it super huge. And I think I want some kind of a button, or a little trinket sticker of some kind. Now, this chipboard cutout stuff of Tim Holtz is usually a lot heavier than this, but this one's nice and thin. I really like this one. So I'm not going to peel this one in half. And I don't want the whole thing on my card. I'm going to cut and trim some of that off. And I know I'm going to get in trouble tearing more of this bird. I'm going to end up losing a feather and then not being able to use them. So let's see what we have here in the way of buttons that might look. I don't have a lot of vintage pinky type buttons. I only have a few. That might stick up too much. You got to think about that if you're going to be putting this in a book. It might be too big. This is the back of this button, but I kind of like that better than the front. So I think I might put that there. And then I was thinking I had this really pretty rose that I might put on this card. Now a button like this, it has the shank on it. I'll just snap that off with my pliers. But it's still quite thick. I need to take a drink, kids. And let's see what I have. I don't care for that. But this might work over here on this card. Sometimes these are stickers and it's hard to tell. It looks like it's perforated, but not through to the back. I think this may be a sticker. And maybe not. Not a sticker. So that's just supposed to look like, and very interesting, very interesting. I guess you're supposed to use the whole strip. So I'm going to cut it. And just use a piece of it. And I'm going to ink the edges of this flower. All right, let's see. I need something under that. A little piece of cheesecloth might be nice, or a little piece of lace. I have this little, gosh, I've had these a couple of years. I gave them to family members for Christmas. They had chocolates and whatnot in them, and they were so cute. I bought several and put the chocolate out for the holidays, and then I kept a couple of these. So in here, I keep my little bits of material or paper, things that I know I don't want to throw away that'll come in handy. And I have them all in one spot. I misplace a lot of things in my work area, but that's one thing I always know where it is. Now, if you've ever used cheesecloth, it can be really fiddly. And I usually take a strip of it and drag it through my, which I had already done with this piece, drag it through my ink pad to scrunch it up a little bit. And when it's all wadded up, it doesn't seem like much. And then when you unwad it, it seems like less. But when you put it under a button and on top of some material, it really is fabulous stuff. So I kind of like that. And I think I want to put some kind of word up here. So I think that's pretty much what I want to do. I don't like to generally have my buttons without some kind of thread. So I'm going to do that. And I think I want to incorporate this yellow flower in here as well. But we'll see. We'll see about that. This can go here Or maybe I might use this little piece of lace. So these bigger cards are starting to shape up. I think I'm going to go ahead and start glue some stuff down. The only thing I'm not sure about here, I might want some kind of a label. And I thought my labels were in this other box, so I apologize, but I try to get my other little goodie box out without knocking the camera or having a craft-a-lanch. If I have a craft-a-lanch to the back, I don't care. I just don't. Oh, I did hit the camera. I apologize. I think what I'm looking for is in here. Right, there's my red ones. I know I have pink. I seem to be using the pink ones quite a bit. Well, darn it. I might have to go with the red. I have red, I have blue, I have the pink. And unfortunately, I'm the kind of person, I get my mind on a certain color. Boy, it's really hard for me to let it go. Hard for me to let it go because I just see it in my mind with that color. But we don't have all day. Let's see. We're already at, oh gosh, we're already at a half an hour. I don't know how those gals do those videos in just a half an hour. Well, they're certainly more organized. Okay, so I think I'm going to put one of these little gummies on here. So let's start gluing down this first one. Take this one and move it off to the side. All right, so the first thing I'm going to put down is my words. And this is just a little bit of glitter glue that I have in a glue applicator. I say needle nose glue applicator, but I don't know. I don't think that's what they call them. The one is called a Precision, and I think that just might be because it's the brand name. I'm not sure. So I'm going to put that there. And like I said, I want this not completely on the piece. I want it partially off. Of course, that's where I have most of my inking. So I'm going to ink in a little deeper. And we'll put some glue on this. Oh, I see a little piece there that didn't get punched out. So if you get these little packages of ephemera and cutouts made by Tim Holtz or whoever, just make sure all the little punched out parts are punched out. You don't want to glue those little bits to your project. Get that little guy. It probably shouldn't have gone out so far with the glue. I'm not going to take it too far off to the side, just a little bit. Take my baby wipe, clean up any glue that is squished out. So that's what we have so far. And then head my bird that way. I think I'll keep that way. I think I might ink a little bit in here though. Now I used the pink around the edge, but I just am using the vintage photo around the flower and then around those words. And of course I did the birds so it'll stand out. I didn't think the pink would really stand out. Now I want to put a little piece of thread through my button, and I want to put this on here. I'm going to do that with hot glue. Just a little strip. And then I'll use my white glue for here. Some of that gauze is attached with the hot glue, and more hot glue is going to go on top there. And then I want maybe perhaps to pin I don't know if I'm going to do this because then that's going to hang down from the tag. If I pin this, if I glue that up that way, I wonder if there's enough. Maybe I could just pin that instead of pinning it on. Well, I could pin it on because I could pin it right through the material and then hot glue behind it. All right, let me get a little piece of, did have some here. These are the threads that I use to bundle up my paper voile. So I got a little bit of color on them, not much. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of that, and I like to untwist it because for most of my buttons it's too thick. And then hopefully I can get that through easily. That one's a little unraveled, so it's usually a little easier to cut the little end off. Tie a little knot. If you want a bow, then of course you just start out with a larger piece of thread or twine, string, ribbon, whatever you're using. All right, so now I'm going to put a little hot glue behind this pin. And then I'm wrapping this rest of this material around to the back. And you really should be careful and try not to, you know, burn yourself. I kind of have asbestos fingers. And I kind of made a mess there on the back with that glue, but I'm going to put a sticker or something there. And I think some of this stuff is Halloween stuff, so I don't want any of that. That's an option. little ticket's kind of cute. I think the size is pretty good. I think I'm just going to go with this. That's already dried up. So I'm going to add a little more hot glue. Put my ticket on. The glue gun strings make me crazy. I can't even get it with my tweezer. Now somewhere I had a piece of, and I should have thought about this before I glued that pocket on. I had a little extra piece of, oh, you know what? Let's add a little piece of this. Now I wondered with one of these other labels. Oh, I just had an idea. Why don't we do this? Because I have to trim off, although, you know, depending on your project, I don't know where I'm going to use this, so I'm going to trim this off. But even if you have overhang, your book or your project, so you can take that into consideration. But I'm going to trim them off for two reasons. That's what I said I would do. So now I want to ink that edge. And then when I put this on the back, how about if I use these little bits back here so they're not wasted if it can pick it up. That might work. So let me glue this down. And I checked it. I have a problem with it making ridges or sticking up too far. I gotta watch my time. See, I can't imagine everybody is like me and will just sit for hours and watch videos like this. See, I would, but not everybody would. So I have to remember that when I'm doing a video. Now, if I put that way, and I put this way, now I'm really thinking that yellow flower might look cute there. But then the card's not flat on any side. It's going to be bumpy on both sides, so I don't really want to do that. So let me get my button. Put my button down. I think that looks cute. And then I'm going to take a piece of our boiled paper. And I want to stamp on that. I don't know if this will, it should fit. Now the question is, I want to get it dark enough so you can read it. I really like the photo, the vintage photo, but sometimes I just can't get it to stamp dark enough. And then I'm going to stamp off on something first. I was working earlier today and I didn't do that, and I was very disappointed. Make sure that dries. So I'm going to glue that on there. This little stamp says always. It's an old Stampin' Up! Stamp. I'm hooked on Stampin' Up! Stamps. I'm always looking for deals on the web for old Stampin' Up! Stamps. Love them. So we have that. All right. Now to the back. I thought, what did I do with those flowers? Here they are. Goodness me, it's sticking to, well, it has a little bit of glue on the back. So it's like a little stopper. All right, so I'm going to put that piece there. This piece here. And then I'm going to take a piece of this cheesecloth. See if I can get a knot in it. They match what's on the front, which works for me. Just a little soft knot of the muslin, or the cheesecloth, I should say, not muslin. And cap up your glue. Now the only thing that I didn't do and didn't pull out is something for the top. This is kind of, I think it's probably supposed to be some kind of red, but it's so sheer. It almost looks like a dark peachy color, and I think I'm going to just go ahead and use that. I like things that are a little thicker. So it looks like I've got lots in the top, and it's a big fluff, and it will stick out the top of my books. So I like that. And then I think I'm going to add a piece of this because we have this on the bottom. And this is all nice and gnarly and thready. So I have a piece of that. And and then a piece of some sheer white. I'm going to add that as well. So now let's see if I can get this all through in one shot. Probably not. But we're going to give it a go. This is where my tweezers come in handy as well. I love my tweezers. All right. So then you just adjust this to how you like it. And I'm going to staple these. Just adjust them to the way you like the way they look. I have my stapler back over here. And I like the Tim Holtz stapler because they're so little. Excellent. And then just trim. Now, I didn't do a tag for the back. I don't really want to take the time to do that because we're at an hour. But then you'll put a little tag in there to match the front. So that's that one. Now this one, we got our little piece of music here. So I'm going to glue that down. And I had some other, oh, excuse me, I'll get the hiccups. I wanted a little thinner piece of washi tape. This is a little alphabet one. Oh, that didn't work out too well, did it? I don't want it wrinkled. You know, it doesn't stick when you want it to stick, and when you don't want it to stick, you can't get it up. I should have torn that off before I put it down. So don't do that, all right, kids? All right. Now, what else do we have going here? Oh, yeah, I wanted to put this on. And I wanted to put this on. So I'm going to glue this down first. And then I'm going to put my flower there. I don't really want to lose my leaf like that, so I want to make sure I position that so it's on the card. All right. And then I had that little angel. I moved it out of the way. Oh, here she slid. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick her down, but I'm going to do her with hot glue. I had the frame and I had the little picture of the angel. And I just put that on, the little angel on the stick up things on the frame with just some white glue. I need something down here. Let me see if we can tie a knot in this little piece of... I save everything, which is just really crazy. But see, then I use it because this little tiny bit would just be trash. But I think it's going to look cute here. All right, I'm not too sure about that. Let's just see. That button's too big. Gosh, I do love my buttons, though. I do love... Oh, look at this button. It's a really cool shape, and it has a design on it. All right, I think the knotted piece, it's too heavy. Did I have another piece of that? Let me get a piece of this. I have some other material sitting over here to the right of my workstation. I have no idea what this stuff is. A friend gave it to me, but it's softer than flannel, and the threads come off of it really easily, but I cannot tell you how soft this is. And I'm assuming she does wonderful. It's my friend Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. If she does wonderful painting projects, and she adds all kinds of things to her paintings, and her she sews dolls and different little things, and then she adds all this different stuff. So she gave me her scraps from her craft floor. It was like Christmas for me. Woohoo! But it's so soft. And look, it just pulls. It's so cool. I should take it into Joann Fabric and see what the name of it is. Now, I don't want this big of a piece, so I'm going to trim that down. It's hard to rip a narrow strip of this, I think. Yeah, see, it kind of just deteriorates. All right, so let's do it this way. Let's cut it. And then let me pull some threads so it looks all, gnarly. It still looks too... Well, let's use this little piece. It still looked a little too large. So put that down. And then maybe put a piece of... I have this piece of cotton that has floral imprint on it that I tea dyed. See if we can get a thin strip of this. I don't think I have a thin strip. This isn't always easy to pull and cut, rip either. Oh man, you need muscles to craft. Now, if we weren't so short on time, I might even sew this button on. But the video is getting longer than I wanted it to be. You can always turn me off. I keep forgetting that. I don't want that too terribly long. I never did use my little gummed label that I dug out. We'll put our little piece of fuzzy fluff there. And then maybe we'll take the end of this lace. I wish you were here live so I could say, what do you think? I think that'll do. Needless to say, we're not going to get to those small tags. Better to be over-prepared than not have enough ready, right? Or enough things going on to finish. So let's just glue this down. Oh, that's right. If I put all that on there, you're not going to see my cool little tag. That was silly. So let's see if we can make an adjustment here. You're probably screaming, but what about the tag you put on? Maybe we'll forget that piece. Maybe I need to just cinch this in the center. That might hold it. And take one of the threads from the material. Oh, I wish this was longer. I bet you I could get a longer piece. Then I could put it right through my button. Dare I try? Let's try. I tied a piece of the thread that came off of the cotton to cinch this, kind of like make it look like a bow. And now I'm going to put that through, hopefully, my button holes, if it cooperates. The one side cooperated. Ooh. Now, do I have enough there to get it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I have plenty. I'm going to tie this. All right. I should probably double knot. I feel like a surgeon again, using my tweezers. So I made like a little bundle. I'm just going to put it there so we can see everything that we layered underneath. And I think I might leave that little piece of music paper hanging off the edge too. I kind of like that. A little dot of glue. Now I need something for the top again. Let's see. That's too wide. That's too bright. I wish I had thought about that before I started to record, because I have some tulle that's across the room. I think that really would look nice in here. But I'm just getting some pink ribbon and some some pink satin ribbon and the sheer white ribbon. And I'm going to poke that through. And I think I might have enough to put through 2 more little pieces here. If I have enough room to push it through. I think I do. Ideally, I would put some other fiber through here. Maybe fuss around with the flowered material that I used underneath. And because I've made this short and I want it to stick up, I'm not going to be able to tie that. So instead of using the, it's kind of thick. So instead of using the stapler, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue and see if I can get it to adhere the way I want. And then I got some trimming to do. To make all your ends neat, especially if you're really crunched on putting them through. And I did not ink the back of this, which I need to do. Try not to glue yourself to the piece. I've got some hot glue here, see, that spilled over. I'm not happy about that. So I'll take my heat gun off camera and I'll melt that up and take my tweezers and pull that off. So you've got a nice card where you can journal on the back. It looks beautiful and you can add it to, goodness, you could put it on a gift, actually. It looks so cute, right? So these are our 2 large tags made from the large playing cards. Didn't get to those little guys, but I basically would do the same process. Just use all my little bits and pieces and create some tags. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me. Please think about giving me a thumbs up. And don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.